Right, folks? Here we go again. And I wish I was coming on here with a smile on my face talking about a solid win and a step closer to lifting more silverware. But no, instead we're talking about a dismal, lifeless performance from Celtic, who somehow managed to lose 1-0 to bottom of the table St. Johnstone at McDiarmid Park. A team that going into this match looked all but certain to be heading for relegation. And yet here we are. They've gone and done it. They've taken all 3 points off us. And you know what's worse, Brendan Rodgers himself admitted he wasn't even surprised. Let that sink in for a second. The manager of Celtic Football Club, after a defeat to the worst side in the league, says he's not surprised. That should tell you everything. There's so much to unpack here, and to be honest, a lot of it's not going to be pleasant. Because what we saw today wasn't just a bad day at the office, it was a continuation of a pattern, a recurring issue that's been creeping in over the past few weeks. We've taken our foot off the gas and it's starting to show in ways we can't ignore. The effort, the intensity, the hunger, all of it's gone missing. And when you're wearing the green and white hoops, that's unacceptable. Look, I'm not trying to take anything away from St. Johnstone. Fair play to them. They fought like their lives depended on it, because quite frankly, they did. You could see it in every tackle, every sprint, every block. They played with a desperation that Celtic just couldn't match. And that right there is the problem. When you're the top club in the country with everything to play for, you should never be outworked by a team scrapping to stay afloat. You just shouldn't. And the warning signs were there. I even said before the match to mates on the bus, to folks at the pub, I had a bad feeling about this one. There was something about the build-up, about the atmosphere, that made me think St. Johnstone might just have a trick up their sleeve. And lo and behold, they came flying out. The Traps got the early goal, and from that moment on, they dug in. They parked the bus, threw every man behind the ball, and we just had no clue how to break them down. None. Zero creativity, no urgency, just slow side-to-side possession with no purpose. And that's where the frustration starts boiling over, because this isn't a one-off. We've seen this script before. We saw it against Hibs, we saw it in Europe, and we're seeing it again now. Since that Bayern Munich game, something's changed. The swagger we had earlier in the season has vanished. The confidence is gone. And today it hit me like a ton of bricks. This version of Celtic is simply not good enough. It's a team that right now looks lost. And I know it, Brendan Rodgers knows it, and every fan watching that shambles today knows it. What makes it worse is the contrast. Last time we played St. Johnstone up there, we battered them 6-0. They couldn't lay a finger on us. So what's happened since then? How do we go from total dominance to this flat, uninspired mess? It's baffling. We had a chance today to go 16 points clear at the top. Rangers dropped points yesterday. We were all laughing about it. And instead of capitalizing, we bottled it against the worst team in the league. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. This Celtic team performs better under pressure. It's weird, but it's true. When the title race is on, when there's something massive on the line, they step up. We saw it last season. We saw it in the early stages of this campaign. But the moment things start feeling comfortable, this team relaxes. They take their foot off the pedal and the results start slipping. Today was the perfect example of that. No drive, no passion, no killer instinct. Just a group of players who look like they'd rather be anywhere else but McDiarmid Park on a rainy afternoon. And let's talk about the mentality for a second. Because if you're wearing that jersey, you got a responsibility. You don't get to coast just because the league feels wrapped up. That kind of arrogance is how trebles slip through your fingers. And yes, we're still on track for a treble. We've had a decent European run. We've made progress in a lot of areas. But that doesn't mean we can ignore the warning signs. You can't live off past performances forever. Every game matters, and today we didn't play like it did. Brendan Rodgers said after the game that there's a softness to this team right now, and he's spot on. From the very first whistle, we looked passive. We let St. Johnstone dictate the terms, and once they scored, they didn't need to do much else. Just sit deep, soak it up, and wait for us to run out of ideas. And we did. Every single attack looked the same. No variation, no plan B. Just pass it sideways, shift it across the back. Try a hopeful cross and watch it get cleared. Rinse and repeat. And the worst part, even when we were chasing the game in the dying minutes, we still didn't look like scoring. It's like certain players are already on holiday. You can see it. Too many passengers on the pitch, lads, hiding, afraid to make a mistake. That's not the Celtic way. We need leaders. We need risk takers. We need someone willing to step up and say, right, give me the ball. I'll make something happen. And right now, we don't have enough of those. It's all just too safe, too comfortable. And that kind of football gets you nowhere when the opposition's fighting for their lives. The defense was a disaster. Let's be honest about that. Cameron Carter-Vickers, a guy I've praised to the moon in the past, looked like a shadow of himself. He was bullied. He was slow. And it wasn't just him. Trusty, don't get me started. I tried to give the lad the benefit of the doubt. First game back from injury, bit of rust, fair enough. But now being able to pass the ball forward, not being willing to take any kind of risk. That's not rust. That's fear. That's playing scared. And when your center backs are playing scared, you got no foundation to build from. And then there's the midfield. Don't even know where to begin. Hatade had a stinker, no two ways about it. Yes, he had chances. And on another day, he might have scored one or two. But this isn't another day. This was today, and he didn't take those chances. And if it was a striker missing sitters like that, fans would be calling for their head. So why is Hatat getting a free pass? He should be bearing at least one of those. McGregor did his usual stuff, but nothing special. Angle slow, predictable. No spark, no drive. Just dull, flat, boring football in the middle of the park. And when your midfield can't control the game, can't create chances, what hope have you got? And let's not forget the front three. I'm not even going to waste time trying to sugarcoat it. They were awful. Nicholas was hooked at halftime. And rightly so. The lad looked lost. Couldn't beat a man, couldn't keep the ball in play, offered nothing going forward. And that's coming off a game where he actually looked decent. I stuck my neck out for him last week, said he deserved a bit of patience. And this is what we get in return. One of the worst performances I've seen from him in a Celtic shirt. The whole transition from defense to attack is broken. There's no fluidity, no rhythm. It's like watching a team that's forgotten how to play together. We slowly trot the ball out from the back, take 100 touches to get to the halfway line. And by the time we're in the final third, the opposition's already set up with 10 men behind the ball. And instead of trying to break them down with some invention, we panic. We go backwards. We take the easy option. We pass the ball 20 yards back instead of playing a risky ball forward, because no one wants to be the guy who loses it. But that kind of fear is costing us. It's hurting us, and it needs to be rooted out now. Right, let's keep this going because there's still a mountain of things to say after that horror show. We can't just leave it a bad performance and move on. We got to really dig into the mess we're in right now. Because truthfully, what we saw out there wasn't just a one-off blip. It was the symptom of a team that's lost its edge. A team that's maybe believing their own hype a bit too much. And Brendan Rodgers, as much as I love the man, he's not above criticism here. He's the one at the helm, and this is happening under his watch. He came out after the game and said we were soft. And I couldn't agree more. We were soft in every area of the park. Physically, mentally, tactically. There was no aggression, no fight, no bite. And he even said it's something for him to look into over the summer. Fair enough, but mate Summer, this isn't preseason we're talking about. We're still in the business end of the campaign. We've got a cup semifinal coming, a trip to Ibrox looming, and the title race, while still in our hands, is not finished. So if you're seeing complacency, now sort it now. Don't wait for the window to open, because at this rate, if we don't wake up, we're going to fumble what should have been a memorable season. You look at the big picture, and yeah, we're still on track for a treble. That's massive. But does it feel like it right now? No, not at all. It feels like we're limping toward the finish line. And fans are losing faith. Not in the destination, but in the way we're getting there, because no one wants to win ugly every week. No one wants to scrape through games we should be dominating. That's not the Celtic way. We should be brushing teams like St. Johnstone aside without even thinking about it. And instead, we're making them look like they're fighting for Europe. Let's talk about the second half for a bit, because that's when things were supposed to change. We made changes, tried to freshen things up. And honestly, there were moments. We had chances. Could have scored a few, but it was always desperate. It never felt controlled, never felt like we were going to properly break them down. It was hit and hope crossing into a packed box looking for someone to get lucky. No structure, no plan, just chaos. And I'm sorry, but when your best attacking play is coming from a sub who's barely had any minutes recently, like young Adam coming on and swinging in a decent ball for Forest, that says everything. That moment should have been the equalizer. Forest has to score, no excuses. But it shouldn't come down to a single missed chance saving our blushes. We should have been level and ahead long before that. But again, that spark wasn't there. That desire to take control of the match and say, right, this is our game now. We never took it. And this is where the fear sets in, because if we can't handle Bottom Inevitable St. Johnstone away, how are we going to cope when the real pressure comes? The cup semi-final, a trip to Ibrox, the final few fixtures when every point matters. I'm telling you now, if we don't find that fight again, if we keep playing like this, we'll get found out. And that's what Rodgers has to fix immediately. The mentality, the attitude. It's not just about tactics anymore. It's about pride. You play for Celtic, you give everything. You don't coast, you don't hide. And speaking of hiding, let's go back to the midfield one more time. The amount of times I saw the ball get to one of our players in the middle of the park only for them to take 3 touches, look around, and then pass backwards. It was infuriating. It's cowardly football. We weren't playing like winners. We were playing like we were scared to lose. And that fear spreads. When 1 or 2 guys start bottling it, it drags the whole team down. And that's exactly what happened. Nobody wanted to be the one who risked losing the ball. But that's football. You gotta risk it. You gotta try something. The greatest teams lose the ball loads of times because they're trying to do something. Brave. We weren't brave today. We were timid, passive, weak. I look at someone like Austin Trusty, first half especially, and I'm just baffled. The lad looked terrified to play a forward pass. And I know he's just come back from injury, hasn't played in a while. But mate, it doesn't take match fitness to make a 5-yard pass up the pitch. It's about confidence, about taking responsibility. And when Jota's literally begging for the ball on the wing and you just ignore him and shift it sideways again, that's not good enough. That's not what we expect. That's not what we accept. And I don't want to single him out alone because, as I said, Vickers wasn't great either. The whole back line looked shaky. And when the guys at the back aren't composed, it filters forward. You can see the unease, the hesitation. It's like we're second guessing ourselves every time we get the ball. There's no rhythm, no flow, and it's killing us. Now, I know what people will say. We've still only lost 4 games this year. That's not the end of the world. But when all 4 come in the span of 4 months and all of them are against teams we should be beating, you've got to ask serious questions. That's not just bad luck. That's a pattern. That's something deeper going wrong. And for me, that shift came after the Bayern Munich game. Up until then, we were flying. We had belief, momentum, hunger. Since then, it's like a switch flipped. Players look tired, look bored, like they've mentally checked out. And that's dangerous because the season isn't over yet, not by a long shot. We've still got work to do. And if this group doesn't wake up fast, we could ruin everything we've built. So Rodgers needs to step in. He needs to shake them up, get in their heads, remind them who they play for. This isn't some mid-table club coasting through the final few matches. This is Celtic. Every game means something. Every shirt worn with that badge means something. And we're not acting like it, not even close. And yes, the fans are angry, and they have every right to be. When you pay your money, when you travel, when you scream and shout for 90 minutes, you expect to see a bit of effort, a bit of fight. And today they got nothing back, so of course people are starting to grumble. You're hearing whispers online. Folks saying Rodgers out already. And look, that's nonsense. Absolutely ridiculous. The man's on course for a treble. But make no mistake, this kind of form over a long enough stretch is the sort that gets managers in trouble. And he knows that, which is why I think he'll turn it around. He has to. There's no other option. We've got to use this as a wake-up call. We need to get back to playing the way we know we can. Fast, aggressive, exciting football, because we're still in the driver's seat. But if we keep letting games like this slip, we won't be for long. And that's the most frustrating part. We know we're better than this. We've seen it. We've lived it. From August to February, we looked like a team that could go toe-to-toe with anyone. Now we're playing like a team that's scared of its own shadow. It's not good enough. It's not acceptable. And it's time to fix it. Now, before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. In what could be one of the most audacious moves in football ownership history, sources close to the scene suggest that David Beckham is considering a staggering proposal to invest in or potentially take over Celtic Football Club. The former. Manchester United icon, who currently co-owns Inter Miami CF and Salford City, is no stranger to ambitious football ventures. But this time, the target is one of the most storied clubs in European football. a giant of Scottish heritage with a fiercely loyal fan base and continental aspirations. Beckham's fascination with building footballing legacies has been evident since his playing days ended. After turning heads with the rise of Inter Miami and maintaining his stake in Salford City, a move into Scottish football might be his most strategic and symbolic power play yet. Celtic's global brand and historic rivalry with Rangers offer a stage unlike any other, one that could elevate Beckham's influence in European football to unprecedented heights. Behind the scenes, insiders hint that exploratory talks may already be underway, with Beckham reportedly assembling a high-profile investment group to back the bid. Reactions have already begun rippling through Glasgow and beyond, while no official confirmation has been made by either party. The rumor alone has been enough to send shockwaves across the football world. Celtic supporters are divided, some thrilled at the potential injection of capital and global glamour, others cautious about maintaining the club's identity and values. For Beckham, the Celtic project could be the crown jewel of his post-playing empire, especially if it includes revamping infrastructure, expanding the club's reach internationally, and delivering long-awaited European success. If this rumor proves true, it wouldn't just be a headline, it would be a turning point. A Beckham-led Celtic could challenge the traditional power dynamics, not only in Scotland, but across the continent. As fans wait with bated breath, one thing is clear. The beautiful game in Scotland may never be the same again. Hello, fan. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.